Hi, my name is Soleil and welcome back to my channel. Today we have a little bit of a reading vlog. So in this vlog I am going to be tackling quite a few books that I've been reading for a while. So let's talk about what we are reading. So I am going more into depth on actually 3 of these later, but I will briefly let you in on all 4 books that we are reading today in this vlog. So first of all, I have Romancing Mr. Bridgerton, which is book number 4 in the Bridgerton series by Julia Quinn. I specifically am reading this before the new season of the show comes out. You will definitely be seeing this way after the new season 3 of the show has come out. But it's fine, we're never on time with these things anyways. So I will be reading this and sharing my thoughts very shortly. Then I'm reading a Formula One romance, A Man's World by Grace Newman. So I'm reading this with my new book club. Yes, that's right. I have way too many book clubs. But I like reading and discussing books with other people, and I feel like they all kind of serve a little niche, and like it's like 4 or 5 book clubs at this point. Like it's fine, it's whatever. We can read things at our own pace and discuss with other people, and it's a good time. So if you're interested in Formula One and romance books, there are a lot out there, and I recently discovered them, and it's very exciting. So we'll be reading this. Then, just of my own volition, I'm reading God Killer. I'll talk more about this one soon, but it is a fantasy and it is very short. And then last of all, I have a nonfiction that I'm very excited to read, which is The Age of Magical Overthinking by Amanda Montell, who also wrote Cultish. So I'll talk about those last 3 a little bit later, but let's get reading. I am currently in the middle of 3 books. The goal is not to finish any of these this weekend, but to just enjoy ourselves, enjoy the reading, and enjoy the ride. So let's talk about what we're currently reading. So first up, I just started God Killer by Hannah Kanner. I'm on page 57. I'm also currently reading this on ebook. I started this at the pool the other day. It's fascinating. It's basically about a society where there's this huge pantheon of gods, and there's like these really old gods and then like a large assortment of really young gods that can basically come into existence just by someone creating a shrine to them. And in this society, the gods were kind of like almighty and all-powerful, and then there was a kerfuffle. There was a situation with the gods and the humans, and they started a war against the gods, the humans did. And now in one of the kingdoms, the gods are outlawed, and there are god killers, like our main character, who basically it's their job to get rid of the gods, to kill the gods. And there's a lot of different characters. There's also like this tiny little god creature that is attached to a human, and they're trying to figure out how to like detach each other from, like spiritually detach each other so that this god can like go live its life. And it's fascinating. So yeah, I just started that. I also got the ebook from my library on an e-loan, So I'm kind of switching off between reading it physically and reading it on there. And then I am also currently reading The Age of Magical Overthinking by Amanda Montell. Loving this so far. This is nonfiction. This is by the same author that wrote Cultish. If you know Cultish, that was kind of about cult behavior and cult-ish behavior. So the different groups that we kind of refer to as cults in modern society, but they're not like full-fledged like cults. It's like certain fitness groups that we refer to as like cult groups, but they're not like full-on cults, but like they're edging on it. But that's the other book. So this book is about how, like, in society and sociologically speaking, how we kind of convince ourselves into like these thinking patterns, but then it also like looks into the psychology of it, and it just kind of like looks into this 21st century of how we have like these thinking traps. And it's fascinating, and it has so many different approaches to it that it's just so good, trust me. And then last of all, I have to keep switching hands because my arms are getting tired. I am reading A Man's World by Grace Newman. This is the older cover. It's currently being edited and updated right now, so it just got a new cover, and the inside is, I think, also getting updated. But I purchased this on a whim right after I got the Kindle edition because I was really loving it, and that's when I found out it was getting updated. So I both have the old Kindle edition. I think I'm gonna get the new Kindle edition, and I have this edition. But I digress. So this is a Formula One romance. If you don't know anything about Formula One, it's like car racing. It's a sport, the competition, and there are all these different tracks and circuits all around the world. I watch Formula One every weekend. I love Formula One. I have my favorite teams, I have my favorite drivers. But anyways, this is about a woman on a women's team racing in Formula One, and like a romance that she strikes up with one of the other drivers as like a fake dating situation to help both of their PR, because both of them have bad PR, and their team, their like communications team is like, this is how we fix this. So that is what I have in store for this weekend, and we're gonna see how it goes. Hello, I just got back from rock climbing, so let's wrap up this vlog because it's been chaos. You don't know how much time has passed. It's fine. So first of all, let's talk about the first book that I read, which is Romancing Mr. Bridgerton by Julia Quinn. So I read and finished this before I watched the third season. I gave this 3.5 stars. Just truly, it's more of a 3, honestly. Let's be real. This is like a 3-star read. I had a good time. I was entertained, but this is probably my least favorite book so far. I did skip the third book because I wanted to read them in the order that the show was coming out in. Controversial opinion. So I am gonna go back and read the third one before the next season comes out, because it was just confirmed who the next season is. This book, so Colin Bridgerton in this book is, in my personal opinion, terrible. Like, just terrible. And Penelope the entire time is like, oh my gosh, he's only showing his true emotions to me because he trusts me to see him. No, Penelope. Colin's just being an ass. Like, he's just being rude and mean and angry and yelling at her, and she's like, wow, I cannot believe he trusts me to see his full emotional range. I'm like, girl, no. This man does not deserve her love. Their romance in this also just feels kind of like weird and off. Like half the book, like it's not even, it's like a third of the book is their like actual love story, which was not my vibe. And then the rest is just like the Lady Whistledown mystery, and I didn't care. Like, I gobbled this up and I read it fairly quickly, but I just didn't care. So I will keep reading the series, I will keep watching the series. It's just this one was not my taste. It stressed me out a lot. Okay, next one. I read A Man's World by Grace Newman. I really enjoyed this. This was like a 3.5 star. See, I can't, these can't be rated the same thing is the problem. This is definitely like 2.5 to 3 star. This is like 3.5. There we go. That feels right. That feels better. Really enjoyed this. This is a Formula One romance. If you don't know Formula One, racing cars, it's amazing. It's a good time. I love Formula One. I watched it every weekend when there's a race. And I knew that there were Formula One romance books out there, but like there's a lot. It's quite a large subgenre of sports romances. So I wanted to read a book and check it out. This one, I think there happened to be like a sale on the Kindle edition, because I think this might be getting a new cover soon. That's the vibe I'm getting. But I wanted to check it out and it was a good time. My only thing is it's very long. Like, this is a 400-page book, and 400 pages usually feels too long for a romance. There was a lot that happened and it felt like there was never a part where, I mean, it did feel like it was dragging just because it was so long, but like the stuff that happened, it made sense why it was so long. I just think like something could have been cut. I do appreciate the way that Formula One was like built into this. So basically it's like a fake dating situation and they end up like falling in love through this fake dating situation. And I loved how you saw both like them outside of Formula One races, but then for each race weekend you saw like different parts. So it wasn't just like every single time there's a race there was like an in-depth like discussion about it. No, they like showed little snippets here and there. Sometimes they showed a little bit from the practice. It was interesting. So was a good time. Definitely going to continue reading Formula One romances. I now have a Formula One romance book club. If you want to read these books with me and my fellow peeps, then that will be linked down below. Next up, I read The Age of Magical Overthinking. I loved this book. This, I think, was a 4.5 or 5 star read for me. I really enjoyed this. I previously read Cultish by Amanda Montell. I enjoyed Cultish. It just wasn't, it didn't grab me as much. It's all about kind of the linguistics of cults and the language of cults, and I love the linguistic aspect of it, and it was really interesting, but that one felt a little bit more repetitive, and I'm just not that into cults. But anyways, this one is all about kind of like the modern age of overthinking. I mean, it's literally the title of the book. What's so interesting is it explores kind of the cognitive biases that we have, like the IKEA effect or sunken cost fallacy, but then it takes that and then it applies it to like all of these like modern situations. So like sunken cost fallacy, she applies that to relationships, and if you're in a relationship for a really long time and it's like not a good fit relationship, then at some point you might not break it off, even though that would be like kind of the best thing for you and the other person is to like break it off. But if you've spent a lot of time in that relationship, you might be thinking about it in like a sunken cost fallacy kind of way and thinking, well, I've spent this long in it, like might as well keep going kind of thing. And she brings in her personal experiences and like her own narrative. That's what I really enjoyed about this book. It was divided up into these different sections talking about different like cognitive biases, and then brought in like the psychology of it, the pop culture aspect of it, and then personal narrative. So I think this was really well done. It was quite short, quite a fun and easy read, and I absolutely loved it. Highly recommend if you don't read a lot of nonfiction. I think this book is a really great entry point because I think she's just so good at the way that she weaves in her personal narrative that you are just hooked. And the last book that I read was God Killer by Hannah Kanner. So this I rated 3 stars. I enjoyed it. It was a good book. It was a good time. I really liked how short it was. However, it wasn't until like maybe 30 or 40% into the book, which it's short. So like it's quite a chunk of it, I guess, that I started caring about the characters. Like already from the beginning, I loved the world. I loved all of the kind of representation and the way that it was a queer normative world, and there was disability rep and like all of these like amazing things woven into this fantasy world, which you just don't see a lot, and it was just done so well. And I loved the world that had all of these like thousands and thousands of gods, and the story was interesting. It's just the actual personalities of the characters that I just didn't connect with them. I didn't feel like I was really getting an insight into who they were as a person. So it took until like 40% until I was like really like kind of in it and reading it and kind of more enjoying it. And yeah, I mean, it was a solid read. I think I might pick up the second one. I've heard a little bit of like meh things about the second one. Specifically, Jade from Jade Juniper loved this first book, but didn't love the second one. So I don't know. I think I will still continue with the series. I want to see what happens. And I really appreciated how honestly it's so short, but it wrapped up so much story in such a short page count. Like, let me tell you, this is like under 300 pages. Yeah, this is literally 288 pages. So if you're looking for just a shorter fantasy read, but still getting a lot of that like fascinating fantasy world building and the amazing representation that's in this book, and getting a fully blown story in that smaller page count, I mean, I highly recommend it. I am in the smaller subsect of people that didn't connect with the characters. So overall, 3 stars, solid read. So those are the books that I read in this vlog. Let me know what you've been up to, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!